Week 2 on the road, same assignment. I went home for the weekend, but we're in Del Rio, Texas. If you recall, in my first video of border coverage, we actually shot an interview right here by this aircraft at the Del Rio Chamber of Commerce. So right now I'm going to put together the gimbal with the Blackmagic cam, because in between my regular coverage I want to shoot some promo material of this new correspondent. So I got an easy up, learning from last week in that rainstorm. Easy up Honda generator, stands are quick to deploy. I'm thinking I'm going to make a wooden box with little square cells, and the box can slide in and out of the truck, but basically have like a vertical that holds the 2 C stands and then 1 cell per light stand. I got various hats, jackets ready to go. Got my camera strapped in. Camera's built. I'm shooting proxy and 50 megabit 1080. This network is 1080i 5994 or 2997. Anyway, interlaced 1080i broadcast ATSC spec. I got 1 Rode receiver. I got my Electro dual receiver. And then I got to install the shotgun mic. I'll do that next. Side door, we got the audio mixer, which I don't think we're going to use at all. Got the gimbal built, cards formatted, ready to go. Got dovetail on my smaller sticks, Sackler 15 SBs. I got a second FX9 in the back, not prepped, but we could potentially go 2 cameras. It's really just a backup. Battery chargers for the hotel room. Spare auto parts. My luggage. And then I'm very happy that my 2 Sanken mics came in. And I ordered 2 of these Bumblebee lavalier concealers. I think I lost one. I might have accidentally thrown it away with all the new audio packaging because I cannot find it. I have a cardboard box of all of the kind of miscellaneous items and cables, and I thought there were 2 of these in there. There's 2 on the packing slip, but shoot, now I only have 1. Shotgun mic, I'm gonna leave that here for now. Get 2 hardwired lavs, XLRs. There's my Rode mic. Oops, here is the second Rode kit. I'm not gonna use that. I've got 1 Electro with a mic ready to go right there. I know I need to organize this. Actually took out my little divider because we've been using this as a little shelf for the correspondent during live shots. I have this mounted kind of waist height with a stand. All right, just a little supply run. Impulse buy on the tool bag. Get some water in there. Water in the fridge. Picked up Diet Dr. Pepper, which is my field producer's preferred beverage. And I lost my SAE Allen tool set, so bought a new one. Opened my tool drawer to get the scissors to cut the package open, and then found my SAE was hiding in the back here. So I'm still at the store, so I'm gonna go return this. Standing by here outside the commercial truck port of entry. When I rolled by, before I got in position, they were inspecting a truck up on that scale. So I was hopeful to get a little B-roll. But now there's nothing going on. It's super quiet. All right, there's the old fence. And here's the new one. Monday morning, 5:37 a.m. We're set up for our 6 o'clock. I'm gonna call in about 3 to 5 minutes. Do a signal check. Got my 2 newer lights set up. It's foreground. They're at the lowest setting, and I had to back them up quite a bit. ISO 10,000. And boom mic, a little table for multiple cell phones. I was gonna arm out a C-stand as a backlight, but I think I'm getting enough off that street light for this first shot. For the 7 o'clock hour, it's gonna be brighter, and I think I'll get out a third light for that one. We're at the port of entry, Del Rio, Texas. This is another familiar spot for me. I covered this same position back in September during the Haitian migrant crisis.
Good morning to you as well, Adrian. A busy morning here.
Currently, officials are preparing for another massive spike in illegal crossings, with as many as 9,000 daily arrests expected by this spring. That's about 2,500 more daily arrests than the U.S. saw during its peak in 2021, a record-breaking year for the Department of Homeland Security. And Americans living along the Rio Grande River, they're witnessing all of this play out in their own backyards. Our border correspondent, Robert Sherman, has been following the situation closely. He's speaking with people who actually live here and are living through this. Good morning to you.
Good morning to you as well, Adrian. A busy morning here in the Del Rio sector. We've already seen Border Patrol out and about making several apprehensions. One thing we have seen a lot of, Adrian, is that sometimes these migrant encounters happen away from the ports of entry, like the one that's right behind us, and right in people's backyards. Linda Bryant of Del Rio, Texas, has lived right here on the Rio Grande River for 17 years. For Bryant, seeing people try to illegally cross from Mexico is a common sight.
Probably every 3 days.
Just this past week, Bryant had 25 migrants cross the Rio Grande and pass through her backyard. It happened so quick that this photo of muddy footprints was the only one she was able to snap. Some of the migrants, she said, came close to drowning by the time they made it to shore.
Come across, and then they came to the shore, and they climbed up, and the look on their face is absolutely amazing, because there's a look that I made it. I made it.
Migrant activity right now is constant here in the Del Rio sector, with Border Patrol tallying 1,812 encounters this past weekend. But it's not just Del Rio. Up in El Paso, Border Patrol agents raided 2 stash houses and took custody of 39 migrants being kept there by smugglers. And down in the Rio Grande Valley, 5 human smuggling attempts were foiled in an 11-hour span. One of the smugglers' vans burst into flames after driving it through a fence. Brian says despite the close encounters, she has never once felt unsafe. And while she does sympathize with the plight of migrants she meets, she wants the crossings and the smugglings to stop.
This is a border, and it needs to be respected. And we need to protect it. And the people who are protecting it are doing it with their whole life.
And it is amazing, Adrian, the different perspectives locals have here on the ground. Some are more pro-Mexico, some are more pro-Border Patrol, some are in favor of a border wall, others are against it. That woman who you heard from earlier, she's against undocumented immigration. She also believes that building a border wall would be ineffective. So while most everyone here is in agreement that there are challenges facing immigration, not everyone is necessarily in lockstep as to what the path forward should look like. Adrian?
Traditionally, this is the start of the busy season, but it never slowed down. Usually it slows down October, November, but it hasn't slowed down. If anything, it's increasing. And we've already doubled our numbers from last year. So I don't have an answer. The solution maybe, but what we're going to do, I don't know. Try to think of this. As a father, as a mother, as a parent.
All right, it's 13:45. I got up this morning at 4:45. 5 a.m. call time. We have been moving nonstop. I mean, we stopped and ate lunch. I think it was about 15 minutes. So right now I got 45 minutes to take a little nap, and then we got to go set up for our first live shot, which is on the 4 o'clock hour. But we got to go find a spot, scout it, drive there. We're thinking of a spot all along the river. There's the van. There is the state of Texas new chain link fence. Here's the Rio Grande. There's Mexico. It's a private property over there. It's like someone's ranch. We're gonna do a live shot right here, about 35 minutes out. Surprisingly, I got decent cell signal out here. And everywhere you go around here, there's evidence of migrants, discarded clothing, trash bags. I assume they put all their belongings in the trash bags to keep it dry as they cross the river. Empty water bottles. I don't want to know what's in that Coke bottle. Ugh.
Well, Nicole, it's pretty common for ranchers to have migrants running through their property, cutting fences, disturbing livestock, but for many who live through this every day, it can be nerve-wracking.
All right, we head back to Texas now, where ranchers are frequently stuck in the middle of a conflict between border authorities, migrants looking to cross into the U.S., and smugglers. Today's News Nation Border Report gives us a look at a side of the rancher life not all Americans see. And correspondent Robert Sherman, the only reporter exclusively covering the border full-time for a cable news network, is live for us in Del Rio, Texas. So, Robert, take us through what those ranchers are experiencing.
Well, Nicole, it's pretty common for ranchers to have migrants running through their property, cutting fences, disturbing livestock, but for many who live through this every day, it can be nerve-wracking. Paige Day's family has owned this 10,000-acre ranch in Del Rio, Texas since 1890. Over the years, migrant encounters like these, which he caught on camera, are all too common.
They move through the night, you know, walk through the brush and that, and you don't know what they're going to do. Like I said, you don't know when they're going to pop out.
Paige showed us fresh footprints in the Texas dirt from an estimated group of 5 to 10 migrants which passed through his land last night. Over the months, some groups have cut holes in his fences, essential to his ranching business, costing him tens of thousands of dollars. But mere weeks ago, a few tried to break into his home, something he's never seen before.
You know, you talk to like my granddad, you talk to everybody, you know, a lot of those guys, they respected you, you respected them. The new mentality, these new ones come in, they don't care.
I've been living in this county for almost 40 years. I've never seen it like this.
Sheriff Brad Coe of the Kinney County Sheriff's Office says his department has been overwhelmed, and the surge isn't subsiding. Customs and Border Protection tallied 1,812 migrant encounters in the Del Rio sector alone this past weekend. How likely would you say it is that there is at least one migrant on your property every night?
I'd say that's probably 100% accurate.
Day isn't letting anything stop him from taking care of his ranch,
2 or 3 groups.
but his guard is always up.
It kind of just stays in the back of your head all the time. Okay, I get out, I got to be careful what I'm going to do. You know, check on everything. Just make sure when you get out your surroundings and know what you're doing. So the Kinney County Sheriff tells us that this is supposed to be the quiet time of the year. March, April, that's when things typically heat up. But the sheriff tells us that right now his jails are completely full. So when the spring does roll around, he has no idea what he's going to do. Nicole? Appreciate it.
My first meal at IHOP in a couple of years. Man, prices haven't changed much, but the portions have dramatically reduced. Guess that's their strategy for combating inflation. So we got a weather front coming in, big storm sweeping through most of the US. February, I hope this is not a repeat of this February ice and snowstorm last year. I was racing back from Bentonville, Arkansas at the start of that storm to San Antonio. I forget now, 12, 14-hour drive. I think it was 12. I just dumping snow, no salt or sand on the roads, no plows. just made it home before the worst of it hit. And I was planning to just turn out and camp out for a few days if I needed to. But anyway, made it back. I don't know what we're in for here. It is pretty ominous looking. It's still in the 50s, but the temp is dropping. I think we got up to 80 yesterday shooting shots, sunset on the river.
Very few people that actually want to make contact with anything that's going wrong, or they see something suspicious and they want to act on it. My recommendation is to call your law enforcement agency and let them take care of it. Let them handle the situation.
Another potentially shady spot for a live shot. The music's quiet when you're around the corner here. We are in a sleepy little town at Eagle Pass, Texas, port of entry. Do live shots for 3 blocks once again, evening. Tonight we're 4:30, and then 5 o'clock hour, 6 o'clock hour. Don't know the times on those two. And the van is right around the corner here, where I can't keep an eye on it.
It's anybody's guess. Hundreds of thousands cross through southern border ports of entry between Mexico and the U.S. every day. Along with people comes drugs. In the 8 ports of entry in South Texas, extending from Del Rio to Brownsville, Customs and Border Protection seized $786 million worth of illegal narcotics last fiscal year. Fentanyl alone saw a 1,066% increase.
Most of the
that was a bad graphic.
Wants to go
Yeah, that was a sloppy red line.
to bigger cities.
Went through Mexico quite a bit.
San Antonio, Dallas, Houston, or up north.
Chief Deputy Roberto De Leon with the Maverick County Sheriff's Office, just an hour south of Del Rio, says what comes through the border here can end up anywhere in the states. But it's not just South Texas seeing the surge. This week, Border Patrol in El Paso stopped 21 pounds of fentanyl worth $950,000 at the border. Tucson Border Patrol seized 94 pounds worth of meth last week in a single haul.
We arrest somebody with meth maybe 2 or 3 times a day.
That's increasingly becoming the drug of choice in De Leon's region. But sometimes they arrest people more than once. A problem that has intensified is repeat crossers who've been arrested in the U.S., deported, and come back without consequence. De Leon says that Texas DPS and the National Guard have helped, but they need more assistance from the federal government.
I know it's going to be kind of hard to stop it, but to slow down the traffic of immigrants and narcotics.
So Texas DPS told us last year they seized over 200 million fatal doses of fentanyl. That's just what made its way through the border, and that's just what they were able to catch. Nicole?
Yeah, so scary. Robert, excellent reporting. Thank you.
Money.
Cool. I wish you were a little brighter.
Yeah,
But
I think it looks pretty good.
on the lighting, but cool.
You've been prescribed medication by a doctor, and unless you're picking it up from CVS, Walgreens, or your local pharmacy, you shouldn't be taking it because they're seeing more and more fentanyl come across the border, and a lot of it looks pretty convincing.
Apparently all of the garbage from the city accumulates right here. It's
Right here. They did, Joe, and put it simply, unless you're a pharmacist, you're going to have a hard time telling the difference. The DEA tells us that a lot of the fentanyl pills that they're seeing have been designed and manufactured to look exactly like the kind of pills that a doctor may prescribe to you or me.
Oh yeah, 4:50 a.m. freezing rain. Little bit of ice on the road. Got a 15-minute drive to location, but hopefully I'm the only one on the road. All right, I got my diesel heater on in the cab. It's running on high, freezing rain. The roads had good texture coming in here. They weren't frozen, not slippery. Got my Easy Up out. It's been years since I've used this thing, and in the freezing cold and old, one of the little retaining clips snapped off, so I'm sure the others are gonna break too. So I'm gonna have to buy a new one of these things. I want to get one that's got a white top too for Texas. This one's blue. My California Easy Up. So here's correspondence view. And we'll be looking into the port of entry. Commercial trucks are in the foreground, although I haven't seen a single one this morning. And then cars are just the next plaza back. It's this one here. Trucks go through, and I think they go down a little bit further. Shoot, I don't know. I've lost my bearings. Last time I was here, it was during daylight.
Good morning, Adrian. And it is pretty prevalent. This whole South Texas region is seeing the surge especially hard. And for law enforcement, it's pretty difficult to keep up.
All right, we didn't do the 7 o'clock hour, so I ran to the gas station, had a taco for breakfast, got a fresh hot cup of coffee, and now we can set up on a new section of the fence. Get the Texas National Guard in the background, chatted with those guys. They're cool. Actually, then they had a shift change, so new people over there. But I talked to them. The Humvees do have heat, but they're all sitting in the pickup truck with the heat on. It's 30 degrees Fahrenheit, so just below freezing. Stopped raining. I rigged up a backlight, which is something I should have been doing all of last week. But just it seems like every situation we got in, there wasn't enough room, or it was too long of a hike, and I was short on time from where the truck was parked. Or I was setting up solo and I didn't want to leave some kit unsupervised while I rounded the corner a block away to get the next load of gear. But anyway, we're good out here. This is going to look nice and super overcast. So my little newer panels are going to read for 8:30 a.m. I think we're up at 8:20, 8:10 or 8:20. 5:30 a.m. on a Friday. It's 28 degrees outside. We're back in Del Rio doing live shots just to the west of the International Bridge, port of entry. I'm all set up outside, back in the truck, getting warm. And I'll tell you, I really have got my money's worth out of this little diesel bunk heater this week. I don't have to idle the engine. Oh, look at that. I got a bunch of trash down there. I need to do a little housekeeping. But that's just running on low right now, and it's nice and toasty in here. (8:22 a.m. last setup of the day, unless things change, which they often do. Switched back to the boom because of wind. Let's see, link is up. 9 minutes out from our hit at 30 minutes past the hour.
And already a dangerous week, Adrian. Just on Tuesday, there was an incident in the Rio Grande Valley where Border Patrol agents were shot at from across the river. This is typically not what happens down here in this region, as the cartel doesn't find it to be good business practice to pick fights with Border Patrol agents for fear of starting something with the United States. But the reality is, this is becoming more and more common down